Hello guys, welcome to Gunnervlog. I know what you're thinking, he's in a different room. I am, a different house, a different county, no less. Arsenal are in a different country, having flown to Australia, and Arsene Wenger has delivered his first press conference of pre-season. It's always quite an exciting moment really, because suddenly all the transfer speculation, all the questions around the club, we can get something approaching a straight answer. And I woke up this morning to the news from the press conference. It was brilliantly covered by all the journalists who were out there. And it sounded like the old Arsecast lorry, didn't it, out there? It's not. It was brilliantly covered, and we did get some definitive answers on a few issues. I mean, unsurprisingly, the subject of the futures of Alexis Sanchez and Olivier Giroud were up for discussion. And I thought there was a slight distinction about the way Arsene talked about the two players. In the case of Alexis, he reaffirmed that the club will not sell him to a rival club. I have been very open about having my doubts about that, about the player potentially trying to force that through, but Arsene has been so consistent about the club's position there. He said it at the end of last season, he said it at the start of the summer to be in sports, and he has reiterated it again there. He has effectively put his neck on the line by saying, I will not allow Alexis to join a rival. I will not allow Alexis to join a rival. That was a bit of a tongue twister. So I don't think he can now. I think he's made that absolutely clear. Now, if on deadline day, a Bayern Munich, a Paris Saint-Germain, say, came in for him, would we sell? I think probably. But it's very, very hard right now to see Arsenal sanctioning a deal with Manchester City. I just think we've been too public in our position that we don't want that to happen. It would be so embarrassing, such a climb down, such a turnaround for him to now end up at the Etihad. I thought the language around Olivier Giroud was slightly different. With Alexis, it was we don't want to sell him to a rival. Well, that leaves a little bit of room to potentially sell him elsewhere. With Giroud, it was we want to keep him. Of course we want to keep him. He's a very useful player for the squad. But can we keep him if he wants to go? Will we keep him if he wants to go? I think there's a bit of a distinction there. I think if Olivier Giroud gets the flavour in pre-season, he's not going to be starting very often at all. He might push for a move. I don't think it'll happen until after the tour. He might even wait for the start of the season and see, if he's involved in Arsene Wenger's early lineups. But I think there's still a high chance that he goes. Arsene would like to keep him. I don't think it'll be straightforward. In terms of incomings, the manager was asked about Thomas Lemar and Kylian Mbappe, and he basically expressed interest in both in such a fashion that I think that I look at them as project purchases. I think Arsene Wenger has been following these guys for a long time. I think he'd like to bring them in at some point. Hopefully it's this summer, but if not, I don't think it will end his interest. I think he'd like to bring them to Arsenal at some point in the next few years. And I almost think that they're the kind of marquee purchases that are almost separate to squad building. That it's like, if I can get Mbappe, of course I'll take him. If I can get Lemar, of course I'll take him. Maybe Arsenal hasn't even specifically worked out what role they would have in the team, but these guys are so young. Ozil and Sanchez, even if they stay, they're in their late 20s, they're approaching 30. They need long-term successors. These guys have that talent, have that capacity. So I think Arsene Wenger is interested in them. I think he would bring them in if he could, but he knows in both cases he's got a fight on his hands. I thought another interesting element of his press conference, he was asked about formations, and he said he intends to start the season with the three at the back system he ended the last season with. I think that's really positive, really promising. I'm glad to see that. I did slightly suspect he might go back to four at the back. He's indicated he probably will try and go back to four at the back a bit in pre-season. That's probably partially informed by the fact that Callum Chambers, Rob Holding, Shkodran Mustafi all still to join up with the squad. So he hasn't got as many centre-halves available to him as he would necessarily like. But we will start the Premier League campaign, that home tie with Leicester, with a back three. And I think that's very encouraging. Finally, Alexandre Lacazette, his squad number has been announced. He's in line for his debut on Thursday. You can catch that game apparently on Arsenal.com. But he's been announced number 9. Not good news if you're Lucas Perez, and arguably even worse news if you're Joel Campbell, with Perez jumping to Campbell's 28. Alright guys, I'll leave it there for now. But thanks for watching. Speak to you tomorrow. Bye bye.